Hey, this is Chaney Morrow, and you're listening to the Baron's Hideout podcast. Do you want to see my face?
Yeah. Joining us today is a spooky, lovable ghost himself, Chaney Morrow. He's in films such as Haunt, Wrong Turn 2021, which was the reboot, and the anticipated Mutilator 2. So let's dive into the scare maze together. Chaney, how you doing?
Oh, doing good, man. How are you?
Well, I'm doing great, trying to stay warm.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, yeah, no doubt, man, no doubt.
Dean, I don't know if you wanted to spearhead anything before we jump into this.
Oh man, I'll let you go with the lead off question that we always do. But man,
All right.
I'm such a huge fan of Horn. Like
Yes.
it's one of those movies that I must have watched seriously, like God knows, like hundreds of times. I just love it, man. It's a comfort
Oh,
movie.
nice.
I stick it on in the background and just sort of my partner's like, "You watching that film again?" I'm like, "Yeah, yes, I am," because I love it. I love it. So
It's
yeah, great
it's
work,
for
man.
Right on,
sure a
man.
comfort film for it not being so comfortable, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but what we usually do when we have our any guest on Cheney's, I always like to kind of bring it back to the beginning to see where everybody started. So for acting and of the like, what kind of started it all? Was it when you were young? Was there a movie that like popped out for you, or did it kind of just come natural?
Yeah, I've been doing it uh probably since like maybe, my when I got the interest and tried doing plays and stuff, since about second or third grade. And it wasn't like one actor or one film
Yeah.
that really pushed me to it. I think what it was I mean I loved watching TV. That was my jam. And when I found out that at a young age that the people doing that, the people in these movies and these shows, that wasn't really them. That's a job, like, and they're making money to just kind of play pretend is the way I looked at it, and I'm so blown away. Like that's a job. You can get paid for doing that. So very early on, I said, well, a regular job isn't going to work for me. I knew that. So it's like, well, what else do I got? Um, but yeah, it wasn't one film in general. Over time, you get favorites here and there, favorite films. But I've always been just a fan of films in general. So I did enough plays, enough theater, up until I think I'd had done a few short films here and there for this college that's this in town college. Um, and how it worked was kind of one little project. One project kind of led to another, and I ended up getting an agent as a result of that, and
Wow.
gunning it for a few years. Man, came across. Now, Haunt wasn't the first one I did, but it was certainly the first really special one that I did. And Haunt has, in itself, I like to think it's kind of led me uh, further and further, in like a domino effect. I think Haunt
Yeah, for sure.
definitely helped. And so I would definitely call that like the breakthrough film for me, which is odd considering you don't see my face and I have a mask on the whole time, but there was still character there, so it's I'm fine with that.
You was
Um,
I think I was listening to a podcast as well, and you were actually doing King Lear at the time, right? Of
yeah,
when
yeah,
Paul came around, so you were kind of like doing this one kind of genre thing, and then just going into like Haunt is completely the
yeah,
opposite, kind of batshit
yeah.
mental. So how did you kind of juggle the two? Like, how did that go
It
down?
was aside. The only thing that was really difficult was just finding hours to sleep
All right.
when I was doing it. But I think Lear, because I'd taken some time off from theater, and that was a one I'd kind of come back with. And as luck would have it, the second I commit to doing this play and we're halfway through it, then I get the job in Haunt, and they were going to interlock. But I couldn't quit the play, and I mean I didn't want to. I was in too deep. I couldn't abandon it at
Yeah.
that point. There was no one else to play Edmund the Bastard. That was a big one. Um, but I think doing that, like leaving Lear to go to Haunt, I think it kept me kind of in performance zone.
Yeah.
and I was able to use that theatricality that I was doing, like say earlier that night. I was able to take that into the costume, and I think it added to it. Had I done it cold, I don't know what I might have, been inspired by, but just being in the zone kept me there, and it was. I'm glad it worked out that way,
Mm.
because yeah, that was my, once you get one chance to be in King Lear like around it. It's not something they put on all the time around here,
Yeah.
so I had to do that. Big Shakespeare fan, so
Yeah, cool.
I have a giant book of all of Shakespeare's work that my stepfather actually had, and he passed it down to me, and I've almost rented a whole thing. There's so much material on that. So yeah, as a fellow Shakespeare fan, yeah, that's awesome, man. Absolutely awesome.
You're gonna hate me. I don't think I've ever read any Shakespeare.
Oh, come
Sorry.
on, dude.
I'm
Come
sorry,
on.
guys.
oh
I'm sorry.
no.
I'm
All right.
so sorry. That's gonna be my homework after this. I'm gonna
Yeah,
go
you know,
and
Dean, I
educate
have to at
myself.
least I have to get you off the podcast for a year just so you can go
This is a horror
digest all that.
podcast, not
I'm
Shakespeare
I'm worried about your safety being in London. Don't say that too loud, man.
podcast. Well, I tell you, actually,
That's like shit talking the Bengals in Cincinnati. You're like, oh man, I don't know.
well, I tell you, I have actually been to Shakespeare Globes Theatre, actually. So, but I didn't.
Oh, okay.
When I say I went there, I went to the bar there and had a drink. I didn't.
I guess that sort of counts, Dean.
So I've
Yeah,
kind of been there.
that absolutely counts.
All right,
There you
there you
go.
go. So, you're off the hook now. You can
I'd
stay
love
on
to
the
have a
show.
pint there, man.
They do a good pint there. They do a good pint. It's a little bit overpriced, but they do a good pint. I mean, you should come over and we'll go and have a pint there.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
So, Chaney, I know that you were saying that you were juggling both of these at the same time. So, how did Haunt come to like your lap? Was there someone who got it for you? Was it like an agent? Was it a fellow actor that you may have known? Like how did it come about?
It was it didn't the movie itself didn't come directly to my agency, which is based out of in Cincinnati, but it did come across Lynn Myers, who is a casting director in Cincinnati. And every now and then, I guess, Lynn herself would reach out to agencies, say if she was looking for something. And I came at a recommendation there. So I ended up, it was the casting agent had contacted me directly.
Wow.
So instead of going through the agency, I went straight to her. And I only had one question though with the first read that I got, because you just had the sides, and it was actually the audition bit was the bit with the hammer death.
Oh,
Now, not the hammer death itself, but the whole, hey, you want to see my fucking face? You loudmouth, you want to see my face? That whole bit was what I had auditioned with. And there's nothing too specific in there. What I was given to say, what was going to happen. Was this guy bad? Who was the ghost? I knew nothing of the movie other than this little bit. So I only asked, I was like, so he's bad, right? And she just looks at me and she goes, oh, yeah. Yeah. So I just gave it, I went with my kind of my gut, with a first read. Sometimes you don't get a whole lot of time to prepare, man. And you just kind of hope what they're looking for is the instinct. Like maybe you fit the instinct of what they're looking for. But I get a call back, and the next read I did was directly for Scott Beck and Brian Woods and two other producers. According to them, they knew that they were going to hire me like before I left the room that day. But it did take a good, I think, 3-4 weeks before I got that call. And I had just reached that point where I gave up on it.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, fuck, man. I guess it wasn't as good as I thought. Kicking myself. But you get that magic email.
Yeah.
Just a day later, and becomes a reality.
Now you're immortalized in plastic as a figure and a mask and everything.
It's pretty gnarly, man. And being such a genre fan, growing up, a big horror guy, but big got all the little Jasons, Freddy's, Michaels, and stuff running around my room here.
Yeah.
I live and breathe this
on the wall. I always loved it. It was like a hobby. Being just a big fan of cinema in general, genre was always a bit of a hobby. But to have kind of originated this ghost slasher character, and to see masks and the little figurines and stuff. That's just wild, man. That's something I never. I mean, of course, I wanted it,
Yeah.
but I never actually thought it was going to happen. I'd reached the point before Haunt had come along where I'm like, well, listen, I'm just going to be doing this audition thing forever. That's the choice
Well,
I'm making. Is I'm just going to keep doing them. Fuck it.
man,
Um,
a good friend of mine is such a big fan of the movie, and the character Ghost is his favorite out of all of them, and he's actually getting it tattooed on his arm. So that's how it just
Yeah, man.
resonates with people around the
nice,
world, man.
man.
So yeah,
Nice.
your
Oh
characters.
shit. Cool.
So yeah, man, it's that's I guess that's how that movie hits, because just the characters and just it's just badass.
It was a special flick, man. And while I was on set and kind of taking it all in, completely blown away by the scale of it all. Because I'm thinking I'm going to show up and just sit in a closet with the other actors and wait to be called out.
Yeah,
Like the short films I had done. But here, let me take you to your trailer and all this is over here, all this is over here, and you're like, my God.
cool.
Right. It was wild. I'm like, I don't really need a trailer this bit. You know what? I'll take it. I'll take it.
Movie land.
Yeah,
But
man.
it was great because I think I was bunked like right next to Will Britton, who was Nathan in the
Yeah,
movie. We hit it off pretty well, man. We became pretty good buddies. I love that guy. He's super talented and just awesome. Just pure Texas, man. He's
Oh
he's
yeah.
he's just cool. He's just a cool dude. They were all great, but I probably spent more time with him than anybody. I wouldn't let any of them avoid me. That wasn't going to be a possibility.
Yeah.
It's like I'm here to meet some folks, and that's going to happen. Like
yeah,
you never know if you're going to work again in this business. So I needed to get as much out of it as I could.
Yeah.
absolutely.
And speaking of people that you met on set, we actually just had Damien on a couple
Yeah.
of weeks ago, and he was talking about you, and we're like, Dean, we need to reach out. We need to reach out to Chaney. We need to.
Oh yeah,
And it's so funny now because Damien actually lives in the same state as me, and he's like 40
Yeah,
minutes away
man.
from me, and he gave me his number. So now it's like, what the fuck is going on? And now we have you on, and it's just like worlds are just colliding, and it's so weird, but so awesome at the same time, man. He's
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
he's a fellow.
Yeah, he
Say
is,
that.
man. He's Damien's. He's good, man. We've actually done now, I believe, 4 films together.
wow, that's cool.
Mutilator being the fourth, and it took 4 movies before you. And this is in the trailer if you watch it, so I don't think I'm spoiling anything. You get to see, me and Damien in a scene together for
Yeah.
once. We've never actually been in a damn frame together. I don't even think in Wrong Turn we were. We're in the same cave, the same trial scene. I don't think
Yeah,
you ever actually see us together,
Yeah.
and with no masks and just playing. So I was most excited about that period. So I bet I get to do something with Damien.
Yeah. That's awesome.
He's a good guy, man. That's where we met, and he's a gifted dude. He's passionate. Uh, he's a good cat. So it doesn't surprise me that you like him.
Yeah, he is. He's
He's
really, really
easy to
down to
like.
earth. And you seem like you really are too. And like especially like I have to say, both of your voice and his voice, it just even though you're wearing masks in this, it comes off so sinister, but also very like embracing. Yeah, he's got that really, really deep voice, but you're so mesmerized by it, right? And then you
Yeah.
have like this really like hardened, like almost like southern voice that's going on there, and it draws you in. And that's what I love about your characters, because as soon as you start talking and you're talking to the crew that's over there, and you just feel so welcoming. You're like, yeah, come on, guys, let's go do this. I'll come save you. Like you are so playing with everybody's emotions in this film, and then as soon as you take off the mask and you kill us, it's like, okay, well, I don't like this guy. I really wanted to like you really, really badly, really, really badly.
Yeah, I've heard that a couple times, and I think I'd already known he was bad, but like had I been given the script and just read it from start to finish, not knowing, I probably would have been pulling for him. Like, okay, hey, they found some help. Maybe I mean this guy's probably going to die trying to help him or something.
Yeah.
But I think that's where the movie really shifts gears in a really awesome way.
Yeah.
Because like even the bad guys got to kind of break character a little bit. Like they're not supposed to talk, but shit's going a little afoot at that point, and he's got to we got to get these people rounded back up in this area. So Mitch, the ghost, kind of does have to step out this character just to get them back where they need them to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep track of them,
It's I think my favorite part of the film definitely is when, especially the whole like set that you're in the ghost room. It's so awesome looking. I would have loved to have been in that room.
Yeah.
So cool.
That was I think that was night one for me, man. That shot right there was night one. My very first night.
On that? Wow.
Yeah.
That's sick. That's sick.
I crawled out of that tunnel. I was like, it was really difficult because the sheet itself kept getting stuck,
Yeah.
It's really hard to crawl in a big sheet like that, I found out. But even when I crawl out, I'm standing up like, God damn, it looks cool in here. I'm like, this is like my natural, this is where I sleep? All right.
Wow. Did they
no, it was great, man. The cinematographer was just incredible. Incredible with that.
Oh yeah. Go ahead, Dean.
Sorry, yeah. Did they build the? Where did they build the set? Was it on like sound stages, or did they actually use?
Oh, most of it was 100% built, man. Built from head to toe.
Because I wondered if they
it was safe. It was safe when it needed to be safe, but for the most part, it was as kind of rough as it looked. So you wouldn't want to lean on it too hard or like move your hair. You'll catch a splinter from hell. I think there may have been a few splinters, but the set there was some in Fort Thomas, Kentucky, and then another awesome little place called California, Kentucky, where more of it was filmed.
Right.
For the haunted house. Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, I always wondered if they'd actually used like an actual functioning haunted house, and they just kind of went in there and shot some stuff. But
it would have been cool, man. But like the way they built it, the way it was, it's like wow.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's incredible. Like man, so like you guys built it, and like movie magic is incredible.
Oh, definitely, man. I'm a huge fan of the scare industry and haunts, and I do a ton of them over here in the UK. I don't know. Have you ever been to the UK?
No, I've not yet.
Oh man, if you ever come around Halloween time, and if you're actually into haunts and stuff like that, we do some. I've only recently got my visa for the States, and I came over Halloween just gone and checked out like the Halloween Horror Nights, and we did a few different things, and I was trying to see if they kind of did them on the UK was kind of on par with the US, and you know what, I think we might be there with some of them. Some of the haunts over here are incredible, like, but I mean, don't get me wrong, the American ones are insanely good, like production value. But are you a fan of that whole kind of scene as well? Do you like kind of Halloween time?
I was really like more so into it as the younger I was. Now I have a bunch of kids and they like Halloween, but the really gnarly stuff that I want to see, that I want to do, they can't do. I could take them through a basic haunted house, but something really kicks the level up. Like there's some movies, and I'm pretty, I was allowed to watch a lot of this stuff when I was a kid. Like I don't think I was allowed to watch sexuality, like sex scenes and stuff as a kid. Like they try to cover my eyes or something. But the horror, I was always allowed to kind of watch that as I wanted, because it was mostly 80s, 70s, 80s movies. And, they were so obviously fake.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty light on that, but there are some movies that she can't. None of my kids will be able to see. I mean, I'm sure they will at some point when they get older, but it won't be with like, here, watch this, son. Like they won't be watching The Mutilator 2. They won't be seeing that one. No, not that one, man. They can do Haunt. I let them check out a good chunk of Wrong Turn. Terror Trips. They watch that.
Oh hell yeah, man.
But Mutilator 2, that's a very specifically different from these ones, these other other flicks.
Oh yeah. Dean, I know you have some questions over there as well, so I'll let you swing some.
Yeah, man. So, did you specifically, or I know you with the audition? Sorry, did you specifically go for the Mitch character, or you said they approached you about playing Mitch?
That was
Um,
yeah, the character I was given was a ghost.
right. And so, how did you get into where did you kind of draw inspiration from to get into the character once you were sort of getting into the role? Because I kind of find some real similarities with the Gary Oldman character from Hannibal.
Yeah,
I don't know
Mason
if that was
Verger.
an inspiration.
He was an inspiration for the makeup artists, I believe. I think
The butthole mouth.
Beck and Woods. Yeah, the haunted butthole. That's what he said. Hours in makeup to look like a haunted butthole. But yeah, they drew inspiration from Mason. I think Beck and Woods have even used the name Mason Verger when describing what they wanted to see with his face. I didn't so much Mason Verger, but there was another performance in another movie that I saw by a performance by the incredible Vincent D'Onofrio.
Oh yeah, he's great, man.
He's fantastic, right? But this is one of the movies where he really just knocks it out of the park. It's called The Salton Sea. I don't know if anybody's seen it.
I haven't seen that. No.
Well, he plays a drug dealer, but has his nose removed. His nose is completely gone on account of drug abuse.
Yeah.
So he has no nose, and his breathing pattern changed heavily while he was doing it. He incorporated it. So I thought a lot about that when I was like, oh, well, he's not going to have a nose. So I tried to work in like a breathing pattern that would feel natural, but also try to pay notice to the idea of like, hey, well, you don't have a nose. Breathing is. I feel like you have to pick your moments if you want to talk so much, you know.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, I just went back to just your classic, like just my classic kind of horror mind, like as a horror lover. I think I understood exactly what they wanted, like Beck and Woods, or what we connected really, and he just kind of said, all right, go do your thing. So it all worked out, man. Honestly, is in terms of inspiration, it was just the genre, the love of horror. I mean, this is a haunted house movie. Like, let's make a fucking good haunted house movie. So I went in with
amazing
kind of that.
I think like when I said about my passion for haunts and scare season and all that kind of stuff, I think that's why this movie just really hit with me, resonated with me, because it just reminds me of Halloween. It reminds me of Fall. It reminds me of that time when I'm just out there having so much fucking fun. And I put this movie on, and it's just like I'm back there again. It's
minus the being slaughtered and stuff. Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Minus that part. Yeah.
See, that's the thing. That's what makes it so cool, because when you go through these haunted houses, you know that nothing like this is going to happen. But imagine if it did.
I mean,
you start analyzing your group of people. Like, all right, well, who goes first?
Yeah.
I'm guilty of that. Yeah,
just go solo. That's all. So that way you don't have to worry about anybody. Just
yourself. That's a good.
Even over here in the UK, like when we go, there's a big groups of us that go along to these things. Like in the scare industry, and everyone talks about haunt. Everyone goes, "Can you imagine if that actually happened?" And so it's huge over here as well in the UK, man. We love that movie.
Awesome.
There are definitely some house homeowner made haunts that borderline what would happen in this film, borderline like waterboarding you and stuff like that, like to the extreme. That definitely does happen over here in the States. So I mean, it's possible for something like this to happen. Maybe not full death, but close to it.
I've heard some pretty crazy rumors about one of those haunts in particular, man, and I'm like, too hardcore for me.
Yeah, I feel the same.
Yeah, I've had some waivers come through before, like some friends. So some friends of mine are so into that scene. They travel all over the place looking for the kookiest, wildest, craziest haunts. And they did one in Belgium, I think it was, and they showed me the waiver that they had to sign, and it was just a laundry list of torture. electric shocks, waterboarding, this, and I was like, "Fuck no, man."
Oh, you were telling me about this one, Dean, and I was like, "Are you doing that?" And then you
Well,
were
yeah, I
thinking
think I
about
showed
it.
you, didn't I? Yeah.
You were
I was like,
thinking
"Oh,
about it though, and then you were like, no."
yeah." My senses kicked in. I was like, "I don't want to be electrocuted, man. I don't want to be."
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's a line.
I
There's
feel. I mean,
definitely
I
a
could
line.
get my ass kicked for free. Why would I pay for it?
There definitely are some crazy ones.
Especially if I walk into the Shakespeare Globe and telling everyone I haven't ever read a Shakespeare novel. That's
Oh
Oh
yeah,
man,
man.
yeah, I'm gonna make you a thing that a little badge that says that I've never read Shakespeare, and then I'm gonna have you
that's a
sit
straight
there.
ass kicking right there, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh man, Dean, I'll let you keep going
Yeah,
with your
man. So,
questions, man.
Chaney, you mentioned that you're a horror fan. You've always been a horror fan. Growing up with horror. What are your favorite movies, favorite directors? What kind of stuff did when you first got into it? What kind of
Um,
really got you into it as a kid?
I loved monster movies. Was my
Oh yeah,
were probably my favorite favorite series. I think what I loved my favorite prolific horror bad guys. Freddy Krueger. I always side with
yeah.
Freddy. I want to play Freddy Krueger. I think I'm finally old enough I could pull that off. Or
Oh
I'd
hell yeah,
love to give
man.
that a
You
shot.
did a good job, I reckon.
You
I
got
would
that
really
voice.
embrace that one. I would embrace the hell out of that one.
Yeah.
I think the gold standard of horror in terms of like a good creature feature, which I would say is my favorite, probably is. But I think the gold standard is Carpenter's The Thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's my. I love that as a kid, man. I couldn't get enough of that. Um, the Myers, the Halloween series, that those were all like coming out like as I was growing up. Like Halloween 4, I remember when that came out, I was very, very young. I remember when Elm Street 4 came out, I was very young.
Hmm.
So those are the ones that like really, if I had to sum up the horror, my little childhood there from like
Oh yeah.
5 to 10 or 11 was definitely those guys. But The Thing is still my favorite. It's my go-to.
Yeah, that is one that everybody always says is like if they're
Yeah.
gonna pick like a favorite like 80s film or even like a monster film, it's always John Carpenter's The Thing. And rightfully so. Like the work in that movie is phenomenal. And even till this day, it all holds up perfectly. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, man. It seems like it only gets better. It's perfectly acted. Uh, the effects, I mean, those speak for themselves. The dynamic between the characters, everybody was so distinctly. I mean, it was just lightning in a bottle,
Yeah, for sure.
and it sucks it wasn't appreciated at the time, but it has been now for the past several years, and it's only gaining a bigger audience. So,
Yeah.
and
And
hell,
they're
I didn't mind the sequel prequel. I didn't mind it.
Oh yeah,
I would
yeah.
say it was bad or anything. It didn't blow my skirt up or
Yeah, that one I
a
was
little
always
heavy on the
confused.
CGI.
I
You
was
know,
always like, is this a remake or is it well what it is? I thought it was a remake, but then I found out years later that it's like a prequel or a sequel or whatever it was. I'm like, why does it have to be so complicated like that?
yeah.
It was this
Yeah.
make it a remake, in my opinion. It
It
was
was
good.
like
I
it
enjoyed it.
was cool that they answered. Well, it's the story about those Norwegians,
Yeah,
and the dog gets loose. So it's a story about what happened with them, like when they actually dig the thing up. And it was good. It just it didn't have that snap, that
exactly.
dark magic that the first one had. It felt a little too Hollywood, not like there are 30 dudes in the middle of fucking Alaska like shooting this movie.
Yeah,
It
with like
felt
no
like it was a
money.
soundstage. Yeah. So it didn't have that magic, but
Yeah, for
I
sure.
didn't mind it. Good cast. It's I'm not a hater, man.
Hell yeah, man.
I mean, I
Um,
can be, but never in the horror genre.
so do you do a lot of convention like circuit work? Are you in conventions or anything like that, or are you looking to be added to convention?
Um, I've done one. It was in Scott Beck and Brian Woods, like their hometown,
Okay.
their backyard. And Damien was supposed to do that also. I think he canceled at the last minute, unfortunately. And Justin Markson, the clown, he was there. So I did that one just because to be with those guys, and Scott Beck even showed up and did a panel with us, so that was awesome. But I haven't done any since. It's not something that I'm against. Um, I've just been kind of busy these past couple months, and I don't really get the offer for it either, honestly.
Oh man,
Uh,
you
Oh,
need
it'd
to
be great to
go.
have you over
Generally,
here, man.
yeah. No, I've never actually been. I don't get offered them too much, but it's not something I'm against. It would really kind of depend.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to like do them regularly. I think it's easy to kind of get lost in it,
yeah.
and I would much rather focus on still trying to, you know, still trying to put movies out there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it'd be great. I'd
Who
love to see
can
some of the UK.
Who are we talking to?
Oh, I'd love to
Was
be
it
there.
Damien that we were saying that like all the conventions just keep wanting the same people over and over again? It's so
Yeah.
true.
See, so I work in events over here in the UK, and I do all the Comic Cons, all the horror cons and stuff. And you do see a lot of the same people kind of just turning up. There is a couple. There's a really good one called For the Love of Horror, and they always try and think out the box, and they always try and get some left field guests, or they've just got the woman that played Frankenhooker, and I was like, that's a cool guest, that's a really good guest.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
then they've just reassembled the whole cast of the original Blair Witch and Eduardo Sanchez, who directed it. I was like, that's a great fucking trio photo shoot, man. I'd love to see the cast of Haunt though. That'd be great. That'd be so good. Well,
Yeah.
even like Devil and Ghost, for me, they were the two kind of main dudes, that stuck
yeah.
out, and especially Ghost. I think it seems to be a fan favorite from everyone that I talk to. Everyone loves the Ghost character. I just did this thing on Mad About Horror, and we were chatting about having you on, and the girl that I was speaking to was like, "Oh God, I love Ghost. Ghost's my favorite." I was like, "Yeah, man, everyone's favorite." But I think those
Thanks, man.
it would work so well at conventions. I'd love to be great to have you over here, dude. Especially now the figures are coming out as well. People will be getting it signed the figures and
Yeah, man. That's so gnarly. I could. I still am like speechless about it, man. When I saw the picture, I'm like, you're telling me there are action figures? Like, oh my
they're giving you a
god.
set.
Well, I haven't gotten anything yet, but
Ah, come on, you need.
but you never know. Somebody might. If they don't, I'll cop them myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm gonna get them one way or the other because I got that's sitting right up next to Lil Freddy over here.
yeah,
Oh
man.
yeah, man.
Uh,
That's so
We were
cool.
we were talking to Damien about that as well, and he said it's funny because they actually got the sizes of everyone wrong. They said they made someone kind of bigger than someone else, and so
yeah, yeah. Damien, I think. Well, the zombie Skylar, he's massive.
yeah,
I think he's like 6'6", man, 6'7", maybe. I mean, he's
yeah,
really tall. Damien was easily the next tallest,
yeah,
uh, but I think Ghost is taller. I think the Clown is taller. I
yeah.
think Damien.
Yeah.
I think they made him shorter. Like,
Oh,
like I noticed it, and then I say he had made a comment about it. I'm like, yeah, it is. They made the devil a little guy. Uh,
that
which is
surprises
odd. He
me.
was such a dominating presence in the
Yeah.
movie. I mean, you see him
Yeah,
shot almost entirely,
that's
upwards. He's such a towering presence.
that surprises me with Trick or Treat, man. They normally get their stuff spot on, so that
Oh
surprises
yeah,
me.
well hell, mine was fine. I'm not complaining. I'm more than fine with it. Give me the whole set. I'll give a damn how big they are.
I'm always interested about this too. Do you have any of your costume from the film, or did they kind of keep all of that?
I've got. I didn't see. I didn't. I knew something special was going on, but it didn't occur to me to take anything. And if I could go back, I probably would have. But I did get to keep a bust of my bald head, which
Oh,
was
okay.
made for the life cast of my makeup. So I got to keep that, and that's fun to pull out for people sometimes. It's a
Yeah, that's
weird
pretty
I've,
cool.
looking.
that has to be really
So I
valuable.
kept that. Oh God, no, I don't know. I think my kids have like kicked it around.
Oh no.
But I've got it put up now, and I kept it in my man cave of the last place I lived, and I smoked cigarettes in there, so it
Oh
went from
yeah.
like styrofoam white to a very pleasant light yellow
Oh, let's
tint.
repaint it. You're good.
But I got to keep that little by little. Each movie I try to keep a little memento without pissing anybody off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I just walk and say, "Hey, I'm keeping the mask," all right, guys.
Yeah.
Deuce, been a
Thanks.
pleasure. You know,
Good business with you.
I wrapped on a film yesterday, and I didn't mean to do this at all, but I actually came home with a few pieces of the wardrobe, and I wrapped. So I mean, I'm not going back.
Yeah.
And
Anybody contact you about it yet?
no, no. Well, it's such a big movie. I honestly don't think anyone's going to notice. And if they do, they'll be glad. Be like, "Bets less shit I have to get rid of or wash." I look at it as I did wardrobe a favor.
Oh yeah, for sure. Having that stuff,
but it was really purely cool, accidental. I didn't mean to.
That's all good. Having things, I think, keepsakes is always really good, especially with films that blow up much years later. Well, I mean, Haunt was one that blew up like pretty much instantly, especially when it got on Shudder. Like that was huge. Like, what was that feeling like?
It was insane, man. Like I remember at the time, me and Damien were in contact, kind of our little budding friendship, and we were both kind of pissed, not because of the Shutter release, but because like we thought it was such a shitty year with events beyond things happened that were out of their control, and it didn't get as wide a release. Like we were really expecting it would get a much wider theatrical release, but I went to the streaming thing, and that's fine because I mean I love Shudder. I've always enjoyed Shudder, and I think it was the like most watched of the year, the most watched premiere of that year.
Yep, and it was on Joe Bob.
I don't know. Yes,
Joe Bob did a whole episode and that was
yeah. I got his had a friend who worked his jamboree or something out in California with
awesome,
Felissa Rose. She was there with Felissa and she met Joe Bob, and she asked Joe Bob, because Carol Ann's such a good friend, she had him sign this thing for me. It's back here on the wall. Her and Darcy, they signed it. But he said, "Hey, it's something to Mitch." Like they both said, "Hey, Mitch." But I'm like, "Hey."
That's awesome.
Like, you told him my name was Chaney, though, right? Like you told him it was the ghost Mitch, not just some like kid named Mitchell.
They should have had you guys on
when
for
it hit Joe Bob, man. Like I was like, wow.
They should have been like, yo, let's get Chaney, Damien, and everybody else that was involved with Haunt. Let's get you on the Joe Bob set. That would have been,
dude. I would have been there in a minute. I'd have been on the next flight out.
Oh hell yeah, man.
I did love when he was pronouncing names and he said, it's Damien Maffei, and with Joe Bob's his accent, he said Damien Maffei. Damien Maffei. I'm like, oh, don't say it again, dude.
we did a trailer reaction for the Mutilator 2, and I think we actually said in it we've got Damien, and I thought it was Maffei, and we said that in the trailer reaction. We got, we're going to be chatting to Damien Maffei, and then it was actually the producer of Mutilator 2 come on and corrected us, was like, "Thanks for the trailer reaction, by the way, it's Maffei." I was like,
yeah. It's like, okay. And then we had Damien on like a couple weeks later, I think, and I was just like, things have just been snowballing, and having you on, and who knows, maybe we'll get even more Haunt people on here, like the sky's the limit at this point.
I know Justin's a lot of fun to talk to, man. He's one of the sweetest people I've ever met in my life.
Oh hell yeah! What's
he's a sweetheart, man. Yeah, he's a great guy.
How was Wrong Turn as well? We're talking tons about Haunt. We love Haunt. Wrong Turn was an awesome movie as well, man. That was a great.
Oh, thanks, man.
Such a so different to the originals. I think the originals 1 and 2 were great, and then it kind of went a little bit like.
And the timelines are all like, what movie is this one? Is this a prequel? Is it a sequel? Yeah. It got really messy.
But then they just went somewhere completely different with the reboot, and I thought it was great, man. I thought it was really kind of.
They really did, man. When I got the script, I was expecting. I knew I had already been cast as the bad guy Hobbs, and I actually auditioned for it. I had to tape the audition in Florida the night after the Haunt premiere.
Oh wow!
At the Popcorn Frights, like I had to get it done because it just came in. I had to get it knocked out.
Yeah.
So I knew I was bad, and I was expecting when I'm reading the script, I'm like, all right, where's all the wrong turn violence? I was expecting some of that debauchery from the last couple. I was really hoping it wasn't there, but it never came. And I'm like, well, this is I loved the script. As I love how you've changed it, but in a felt like in a more positive way. It gets
Yeah.
rid of that stigma that the last like 4 or 5 of them left, which is just fucking and murdering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
And
visceral.
sometimes at the same time, yeah, just
Hmm.
brutal murder. That's it. No real substance. And it's the same guy that wrote the original, so who better to write a reboot?
Mm.
I loved that they took away the inbred, mutated
Mm.
monster aspect of it and made it more just an intensely secluded community with
Yeah.
plays by their own rules. And I like that almost up to a point. I'm like kind of seeing their side of it. I'm like, yeah, you guys, they don't really want any problems with nobody, and then they start smashing heads and cutting out eyes and tongues. And you're like, well, you can't do this shit either. Okay, like this is where you've got a cave full of like they look like zombies. This is wrong. Okay, yeah, you are officially bad guys. This is where I draw the line. But because they didn't. Who started it?
Yeah.
Who really started it?
Yep.
Those kids came into that town kind of talking shit, being jerks.
Yeah.
It's always something like that, with movies like that. It's always the kids that are starting shit.
They came in kind of talking. I mean, not all of them. Some of them were good, but yeah, there's always that one troublemaker, and
yeah,
he killed one of them. I mean, don't go off the path, man. God damn.
That ending when he rocks up at the house as well.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet. None of us knew how the movie was going to end because they had said the ending would change because I believe the ending that's in there, it wasn't in my script, so it was a really awesome surprise to see it at the premiere.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I loved it. I loved the ending.
Yeah.
She turned into the bad guy turned her into fucking John Rambo.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
She was like Robin Hood with a bow. She's cutting up 5 people at a time in an RV.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
Pretty badass.
Dean, I don't know if you have any other questions you got lined up over there you want to shoot, man.
Yeah, man. I only got a couple more. I was going to ask if you had any like kind of cool on-set stories from Horn. Anything like kind of anyone kind of mucking around? Anything?
Not from Haunt. Aside from me and Will just, telling dirty jokes, smoking cigarettes, and watching baseball like in his trailer. Okay, well here's one I did at the rap party. They rented out this nice little bar, and may have got a little carried away on the balcony area since we were outside. I won't tell you who I was with, but it was me. I pulled out a big joint.
Oh yeah.
And I'm smoking a joint on the balcony, thinking, because I mean, more often than not, in Dayton, Ohio, it's no big deal. That you just kind of no one cares.
Yeah.
I didn't think anyone would care there. But a bartender comes out, man, and just rips me a new one. Boy, she tore my ass up. Blah, 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 you got to get the hell out of it. So instead of like offering any resistance, trying to explain, I didn't want to make the person that's out there with me. I didn't want them to look bad.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm just like, all right. I'll leave. So I had to kind of dip out there because I pissed off the bartender who was waiting on everybody, including like my bosses and shit. So I'm like, yeah, I should probably just get lost, man, because if she's got it for me now, like she's not gonna like me for the rest of the night. So I should. She's made up her mind. She don't like my ass.
Oh no! And that was the rap party for.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, it's if anything, like if that, I think that's as extreme as it got.
That is pretty rock and roll, man. That's pretty rock.
I didn't see a damn problem with it, man. I mean, maybe it's because I was good and buzzed, out there chatting it up, making friends, and
yeah,
I didn't see a problem with it.
Nothing wrong with a little wee, man. No, definitely not. You should have come back in with a Mitch costume. You wouldn't have recognized him. It's been a month.
Yeah, I know, right? She probably would have ran the other way.
And I was skin bald at the time, like skin bald from the makeup. So I mean, I could have said any number of things. Like I'm completely bald. Like, well, why are you picking on me?
When
You
with the
bald
makeup
guy out
on.
here, you're yelling at me.
That's such
You
a
don't
Larry.
feel bad? It's freezing out here, and I'm bald.
It's a Larry David.
Oh man, that's great. That's great.
And I guess one question, my last question I've got is, if you could have a bash at any character that if you think, oh man, I'd love to have a go at playing that role. I think I know who you're going to say. I think you kind of said it already, but yeah, if you could have a bash at playing anyone, I guess horror, but anything really. But who would you go for? Who would be your kind of dream role, dream character to play?
Horror. I've got a couple, but horror predominantly. If I can't redo one of my own to make it better, I would want to be Freddy Krueger.
Yeah,
I want to see that happen.
I want a screen test for that so bad, man.
I'm willing that into existence.
I think you
right
do
now.
a great job. I think you do a great job, and I think because they always pulling these actors out. There's this person could do it, this person could do it, this person. I think you do a great job, man. You got the voice, you got
you have charisma too.
Thanks, man.
A lot of on-screen like charisma and presence. You have it. You could 100% nail that. 100%.
Thanks, man.
I've actually taken. I've told Dustin this story about God knows how many times. He's going to be like, "Oh no, not again." But I've actually I've taken a piss next to Robert Englund's story.
All right, I'm going to go in the other room as he says this.
Yeah, Dustin's like, "Not again." No, I walked into a bathroom once, and I was like, it was just me, and I kind of turned around. I was like, "Oh my God, there's Robert Englund standing at the sink, clearing his throat, like going." It's like, oh, I don't want to bother him in the bathroom, and I'm going to not, I'm in the toilet. I don't want to kind of bother him. So I went into one of the stalls just to kind of, take a leak. And then he's kind of clomped over and gone into the cubicle next to me. And he's clearing his throat, like clearing his throat out and taking a piss. I'm like, Freddy Krueger is taking a piss in the next fucking stall. That's insane.
You know what you should have done?
Like, careful not to cut it off, Fred.
You should have had a little photo with you and just like put it underneath the booth and slid it over with a pen.
Yeah,
that would have been
it was
so funny.
It was the way he was clearing his throat and everything. It's that Kruger, like, that kind of thing he does. I was like, I can't believe that is actually him. That's crazy. It's waiting for the glove to come underneath the stool. And
I would have had to ask him, like, do you use your left hand now, like just like all the time, like when you're pissing? Yeah. Did you ever like just once forget?
Yes.
Oh man, yeah, especially
some
of those gloves were real too.
Dude, I think you'd nail that role, man. I'd love to see you do something like that. I think you do.
I would love to, man. Horror wise, I would love to. As far as like other genres, I'm a classically trained, theater dork.
Yeah.
So if I couldn't do Shakespeare, like I would love to do Edmund the Bastard at a much larger scale. I'm a sucker for crime films, man. Mafia film, Scorsese. I would love to play Billy Costigan in The Departed, which was DiCaprio's character.
Oh yeah.
Or like an Ed Norton character in Rounders.
Okay, yeah, that'd be
something
cool.
like that.
You're a fan of
and I'll get there someday.
You like the film The Departed?
Oh yes, very much.
Oh man, so I've grown up with Mr. French.
Ray Winstone.
I've known him since I was 3 years old, man. He lives 10 minutes up the road from me, right here.
His face right now, I was like, "Are you kidding?"
You're kidding me? No, dude, shit.
His wife and my mum were like best friends for years, but he lives literally. I drive past his house every day, man. And I was in a band with his daughter for like 10 years. So yeah, man, I've partied around his house a lot. But yeah, I've known him since I was a kid, man. He's like, "All right, Dino, hello, mate." We see him in the pub up the road all the time, and yeah, he is just like you see him on the telly. But I literally drive past his house every single day, like, and he's got a nice big house, as you'd imagine. He lives up Roydon, which is like 10 minutes around the corner from here, and then he also lives in Sicily. He bought a mountain in Sicily, and he kind of excavated down and kind of built this mad fucking house in Sicily. But
Damn.
yeah, he is very, as you'd imagine, Ray Winstone to be.
That's good, man.
Yeah,
He's incredible. I'd seen him in Gary Oldman's film. I think it was the first time I
Nil by
saw him.
Mouth.
It's a movie. Yeah, I couldn't get through it in one sitting.
Yeah, it's heavy going.
I was pretty young. It wasn't a movie I probably should have been watching. Well, no, I was probably a teenager, 12 years old, 12, 13. It was heavy, man.
Yeah.
And he is so damn brutal in that.
Yeah.
Like the next time I saw him was maybe Sexy Beast.
Yeah.
And that's Kingsley just comes in and just that's a Kingsley movie.
Oh,
and then boom, I see him in The Departed and I have to look up his name afterwards. I'm like, who the hell was that? I'm like, Ray, well, that's the guy from Nil by Mouth. I'm like, no shit. Like,
yeah.
What an actor. What an actor, man. Because he very much was Boston, like Southie Boston believable in that, dude. Like I didn't pick up on because he's got a heavy accent.
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on any of that in The Departed. I almost damn near forgot. I forgot he wasn't American. Like,
yeah,
he's great. I love The Departed. Fucking love it.
He's literally as Cockney as they come over here. Like you see him in the pub, just with all the lads. He's just, a typical East End guy. But yeah, he's great fun.
Hell yeah!
Oh man,
hell yeah!
That's great.
Dean is like, every day I find out that he knows somebody from something. I'm like, Dean, how is this possible, dude? How do you know all of these people? It's like, yeah, they live like right down the road from me. Like, that's impossible. There's no way you know this person. Like, yeah, like my grandfather knew this person or whatever. I'm like, dude, just stop. Just stop. Just stop.
The world is smaller than you think, man. The world is a small
really
world.
is. But I guess like the last thing that I have to ask Chaney is, what else do you have in the work? I know we have Mutilator 2 and you say you're just wrapping up on something else. Is there anything else that you talk about at this point?
The one I just wrapped, nothing has been put up on IMDb or anything yet. The cast is huge. It's being filmed in Kentucky. All I can say is the one I wrapped yesterday was written and directed by Ethan Hawke.
Oh,
there'll
wow.
be more details will come out about that eventually. You know, I was only there for like a day or two, so but it's a it's a big one. Like it's a big one. I was like, when the cast is revealed, you'll be like, holy shit, he was out of his league.
Oh, I'm excited now, man.
I was a little out of my league. But the ones that'll be coming up soon, aside from Mutilator, is a film I actually produced. It's written and directed by L.C. Holt.
Okay.
It's called Watchdog. That trailer's up now.
I'll have to check that
if you guys want to check it out, it's that one's. I'm really, really proud of that one. There's The Last Shift, which it's a reboot of a film called The Last Shift. There's that. I'm not. That's coming down the pike. I'm not sure what its status is yet. But I'm looking forward to that one too, because that was pretty wild to film, and it's a different level of horror that I hadn't done yet.
Yeah, the original was pretty wild too.
Yeah,
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, man. I was excited every day I was there. So I'm like, dude, I thought the original was excellent. I'm like, and it's going to kick that up.
Oh wow,
notches, man. So like, I'm really looking forward to that one. But yeah, no. Aside from that, man, just keep your eyes out for those bad boys. There's late checkout also. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but that should be a good amount of fun too. I'm hoping.
Oh hell yeah, man! I'm excited. You're getting those movies in, like you're saying. You are hard at work, and I'm here for it.
Trying, man. I'm trying. It's all we can do.
Hell yeah, dude! And this was such a blast having you on, and hearing about your experiences.
Man, it was.
So it's really, really great.
Thanks for listening.
No, I mean, thank you for telling all these stories. Like, I was trying not to like go too deep into things because what you were saying was so interesting, and I love when the guests come on and they just want to talk, it's so much easier for Dean and I for having to just sit here and listen and be like, wow, that was so cool. Holy shit. And I'm like, oh my God, we're actually talking to this person? Wow, that's nuts. So man, this was great. And we always offer this to all of our other guests. Anytime you want to come back on, talk about another film you're going to be on, or to review a movie, just to review it or talk about it or promote something, like you're part of the family now, man. You're welcome on
Appreciate that, man.
at any time, anytime.
Excellent. Appreciate that, fellas.
Oh yeah, dude.
Cool, man. Yeah,
So
cool.
Dean, you said you're all set with your questions, dude.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm all done, dude. It was great to meet you over the Tinternet and
No,
chat to
yeah, you
you.
too, Dean. You too,
So
man.
I'm a huge fan of that film, huge fan of your character, huge fan of all your other work, man. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing everything else that you do.
Awesome, dude. Thank
And
you.
I'd
Thank you, man.
love to see you at a convention over here as well. That'd be cool.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, man, if I get the offer and it's over there, dude, count me in. I'll be there.
Gotta get him some sauces too, Dean.
Oh yeah. I make That's it. Yeah, I make horror themed hot sauces. So I'll give you some.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And beer as well. We make our own beer, so we'll sort you out some hot sauce and beer. Yeah, we'll look after you.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Well, Chaney, thank you so much for taking the time to come and do this. And Dean, as always, thank you for being my partner in crime. And look out for Chaney's other works that are coming out very soon. I'm very, very hyped for it. I'm gonna go check out that when he was talking about Watch Dogs. I'm gonna be checking that out. Probably with you, Dean. We'll do that together, man. And probably pull up a reaction on that one. But Chaney, thank you so much.
Man, let me know what you think.
For
I'm
sure.
proud of it. There's a lot of good talent involved. Mark Patton,
Wow.
Felissa Rose. We got Mark and Felissa playing a couple, which is a fun wink, to everybody. But it's also a very taut. It's a thriller, man. Let me know what you think, man.
Oh hell yeah, definitely gonna be checking it out. So make sure everybody's checking out his work. If you haven't seen Haunt, I don't know where you've been. Go watch it now. Go watch Wrong Turn and all the other stuff that Chaney has out right now. And we'll see you guys on the next one.